Have you ever heard of someone living on top of a pillar for 37 years? It sounds incredible, right? But this is the true story of a man named Simeon who became one of the most famous figures in early Christianity. His tale is a powerful testament to faith, endurance, and the extraordinary lengths people will go to for their beliefs. Simeon was born around the year 390 in a small village in what is now modern-day Syria. As a young shepherd, he was deeply moved by a sermon on the Beatitudes. This experience ignited a spiritual fire within him, and he decided to dedicate his life entirely to God. He joined a monastery, but even the strict life of a monk wasn't enough for him. Simeon's desire for a deeper connection with God led him to seek extreme forms of self-discipline. He began by locking himself in a small hut for a year and a half. But soon, word of his piety spread, and people started flocking to him, seeking blessings and advice. The constant crowds became a distraction from his spiritual practice. He needed to find a way to be alone with God, yet still be accessible to the people who needed him. So Simeon came up with a radical idea. He found a small, abandoned pillar just a few meters high and decided to live on top of it. This was the beginning of his life as a stylite, a word that comes from the Greek stylos, meaning pillar. For the next 37 years, Simeon would live on a succession of pillars, each one higher than the last. His final pillar was over 15 meters tall, roughly the height of a 5-story building. Imagine living on a small platform, exposed to the blistering sun, freezing rain, and biting winds, day in and day out for decades. His only connection to the world below was a ladder, used by his followers to bring him small amounts of food and water. He spent his days in constant prayer, fasting, and contemplation. You might be wondering, why would anyone do this? For Simeon, it was an act of ultimate devotion. By physically elevating himself from the earth, he felt he was getting closer to heaven, separating himself from worldly temptations and dedicating every moment to God. He saw his suffering as a way to purify his soul and emulate the suffering of Christ. Despite his isolation, Simeon's influence grew immensely. His pillar became a major pilgrimage site. People from all walks of life, from poor peasants to powerful emperors, traveled great distances just to catch a glimpse of him or hear his words. He would preach to the crowds below, offer spiritual guidance, settle disputes, and pray for the sick. He became a living oracle, a beacon of faith in a turbulent world. His letters and advice were sought by bishops and even the Roman Emperor Theodosius II. He wasn't just a hermit. He was an active spiritual leader whose unconventional platform gave his voice incredible authority. People saw his endurance as a sign of divine favor. If he could survive such harsh conditions, surely God was with him. Simeon's life came to an end in the year 459, right there on top of his pillar. His disciples found him in a posture of prayer, having passed away peacefully. His legacy, however, was just beginning. He inspired a whole movement of pillar saints who followed his extreme example for centuries. After his death, a massive church and monastery complex was built around his final pillar. The ruins of this magnificent structure, known as the Church of St. Simeon Stylites, still stand in Syria today, a silent witness to his incredible story. It was one of the largest and most important churches in the early Byzantine world. The story of St. Simeon the Stylite challenges our modern understanding of faith and devotion. It's a tale of extreme asceticism, unwavering belief, and the profound impact one person can have on the world, even from the top of a stone pillar. It reminds us that faith can manifest in the most unexpected and extraordinary ways. Thank you for joining us on this journey back in time. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next exploration into history's most remarkable figures. See you next time.